What is up, everyone? My name is Graham Giancola. Welcome to Vibin with G, where I interview interesting people. And here, for the first time ever, I'm doing an in-person interview with a former DJ and my current radio broadcasting professor, Jim Carr.
Hey.
Hey, everyone.
How's it going?
Going well.
You said former. I still am a DJ.
Oh.
I still call myself a DJ.
He calls himself a DJ, even though I said former. Okay, are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you were younger, I found out on a website that you had a phone call with someone and that you're originally into theater. Talk about that.
So, I'm not sure of the reference, but originally I was in love with theater. I wanted to perform. I had a really good experience and a good knowledge of sound and lighting, so I also wanted to be behind the scenes, but the truth is I think I really wanted to perform. And then, like so many high school students do, they start applying to different colleges and universities, and I applied and got accepted to Humber for a technical theater program. But then, unfortunately, my grandmother passed away. And we were living in her house with her, and her passing away caused us to have to sell the house and move on our own, and my mom could not afford at the time to be living on her own. And so I gave up my school ambitions and started working full-time to try to help the family kind of survive. So put that off a long, another 2 years of working, 2 or 3 years of working, and then leading from one job to another job to another job to another job. And then somewhere in there, I stepped across my other dream of owning a recording studio with my old partner, which was kind of my best friend going through high school. We spent a lot of time talking about it. We all loved music, and we had a real keen interest in being producers and working in audio and doing live sound and all that sort of stuff. But we had a recording studio for a bunch of years, couple years. Not super successful. We didn't do many recordings, but we did a lot of live performance recordings, and we did some live sound. We had, a good bunch of clients that were on a regular basis paying us money to do lots of things, and so it was good. But we were struggling. We weren't making a lot of money, and we weren't really successful. And then I started, I met a guy that worked at a radio station in Kingston, and we were doing, one of the kind of adjuncts to the business that we were doing was karaoke. So what we would do is we had a big console, and what we would do is we would record the people in the recording studio singing to karaoke songs. So basically it was like not live karaoke, but it was karaoke where we could actually go in and actually, edit the recordings by, punching in, punching out at different times. And so what happened was we would actually be able to record people doing karaoke. So it's like karaoke. It was kind of cheesy and hokey, but we were actually recording people and giving them cassettes. And then we did that for another year, and it again was somewhat successful, but we weren't business people, we weren't accountants, we weren't super smart on understanding the business side of things, so we didn't make it very much money at all. And I got tired of it, and I really needed a change, and so I decided to go back to school, and I studied radio broadcasting. That's what might be the phone call. I'm guessing is the phone call from Seneca, or the phone call from what was in the research that you pulled out this phone call?
I found it off of a website.
Oh yeah.
I forgot what it was.
Okay. That doesn't matter. But so yeah, I mean, I really wanted technical theater. That was what I wanted to do, and then I put that all on hold when I met some guys working in radio, because I loved sound already, and because I had the studio, I was really experienced in it. And then when I started hanging around with this guy in radio, I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect combination of everything that I love. I love talking and performing And so maybe radio is for me, not necessarily theater. So that's when I went back to school. I came to Seneca, studied radio, did the 2-year program, really loved it, worked really, really hard. And then, midway through the second semester, I started getting these little gigs helping other students do productions. And one thing led to another with others, and then the teachers would see me helping others, and then they kind of asked me about my ability of teaching. And Ron Lowe, who was the coordinator at the time, had a last-minute opening in one of the classes and needed someone to teach it. And so I had already graduated the semester before, and he gave me an opportunity to teach it. And I loved it, and that's when I really found my love of teaching.
So I heard that you're not a former DJ, you're still currently DJ.
Yeah.
Your first gig was in 1981.
1981, yeah, when Kool and the Gang's Celebration was just launched, a brand new song at that time.
Oh.
And now it's a song that's, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been DJing a long time.
Oh.
There was a whole bunch of years in there where I didn't do it very often. And then there was lots of years in there where I needed the extra money, and a small, young family that was just trying to, I started DJing 3 or 4 nights a week when my daughter was born. Extra diapers and all the food and all the stuff that you had to pay for came pretty easy when you made extra money on the side, part-time.
Yeah. So you did a thing called the CFTR Video Roadshow.
Yeah.
What was that about?
So back right when MTV launched the video revolution in 1981 with, Video Killed the Radio Star on MTV, that, music videos became part of the norm for dances.
Yeah.
And so this company in Toronto was one of the first companies to do video roadshows. And so what they had this very large projector that was really designed as a living room projector, a high-end but video projector for your house. And the technician friend of theirs found that if you adjusted the width and the horizontal refresh rate on the projector, you could make it from 6 feet, in your basement, to 12 feet.
Wow.
And it was big, but it was not super bright.
Yeah.
And so the dance had to have, a decent amount of dark space in order to really kind of work. Dark space. And so what was cool was, we went from a company, and I worked there for probably 2 or 3 years, and they when they first started, they had one projector, and then when I left, they had 5 or 6 different projectors that they rotated. They also had a couple of different video setups, but they also had audio only setups too. So they were quite an advanced DJ company at the time. And so I started working with CFTR and the video roadshows. At the time, CFTR was the kind of a top 40 radio station, the popular one in Toronto. There was a real long time in there where Chum AM, or 1050 Chum, and 680, which was CFTR, were in serious competition for the #1 spot. And so at this particular time when the CFTR video roadshows were on, they were #1. And they had, really, really cool people involved with the show. And if CFTR was going to a school to do a dance, they would often send an announcer or someone from the radio station. So I got to work with people like Tom Rivers. I got to work with people like Bill Hayes and all these amazing people Chris James, all these people that are now still in radio, or some of them are retired, but basically they just had a lot of fun. Mike Cooper was a great guy.
Yeah. Okay, so why did you transition from DJ to sound recording?
Well, I love all elements of sound. I love what sound can do, the power of imagination with sound. I love how, if done right, I can make you feel a certain way just by playing some sounds or some sound effects or some music and be able to change a movement or change a motion or change a feeling in a room with the power of being able to figure out what's going on with music. And so that is a really cool tool to use in editing and producing. And so I've always loved sound. And then, understanding what sound is like in radio and then comparing it to what sound is like in DJing, the really successful and really good DJs have a lot of tie-ins with radio. They pay attention to things like levels and tempo and beat and key, and the really good ones do that. They do that because that's what it's like in radio. We pay attention to things like that. So I think it's kind of it's not necessarily a really obvious connection, but it is a decent connection to DJing.
That's pretty interesting. So I heard that you studied radio broadcasting here at Seneca in the 90s.
I did. Different campus. We were at a different building. We weren't in this building until 1999. So almost 8 years after I graduated, we were in a different building. It was a small program. The total number of people in the building was around 600. And so, with 6 programs, we got to know a lot of the people from the other programs because we saw them every day in the cafeteria. We walked past them in the halls, and it was always similar to what it is like now walking around the halls of Seneca. There's always somebody with a video camera, shooting a story. There's always someone walking. There's always someone curled up in a corner with a guitar and playing music, and someone dancing. And it's like that old TV show called Fame. It's too young for you. You won't remember it, but Google it when you get home. Google Fame. Coming to Seneca and coming to school made me feel like it was part of that, and so it was very creative and really cool people, and some of these people that I met, I still am friends with today.
That's pretty cool. So I heard that you're also a musician. You did a cover version of "I Can Only Imagine" by Mercy Me. Did that inspire you?
Oh wow, yeah. I haven't had any success at being a musician other than playing with family and friends and enjoying music. I've never really released anything. I've never tried to professionally record something. I've always just kind of done what I can, and because I know the recording side of things, I've often done other recording projects for other people. And so I think just having a musical knowledge and an understanding of music has just helped me again understand things like tempo, things like speed, and adjusting things like keys and that sort of stuff. It's helped me be a better producer, I think.
Nice.
But I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you have to be a really good musician to be a producer. You just have to have musical ability or knowledge.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Well, thank you for taking your time to be part of my YouTube series, Jim.
No problem. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, Graham. I've always enjoyed your vibe and your energy, and always brought interesting conversations to the class, and so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
See you soon.
Thank you.